Race fans, good evening and welcome to the Mid-Atlantic right here in the beautiful state of Dover as the Dynasty Racing League gets ready to conquer the concrete and see who can beat and tame Miles the Monster here tonight in prime time. Good evening, Matt Metler up in the Tony Trapasser Memorial booth as these drivers are racked and stacked, ready to rock and roll for all the high-flying, high-octane racing action this evening. So strap in, make sure Grandma's got plenty of kernel-free popcorn because it's about to get heated out here on the racetrack this evening. That field now begins to roll behind that iRacing.com pace car. A little bit of a delayed start here on my end due to a technical issue, so I do apologize. However, that 42 Gary Farnsworth going to have the pole. Green flag in the air. Those V8s come to life, and we are racing here at Dover. Already getting hot and heavy. We got problems. How did the 75 save that race car? That was absolutely incredible. Stony Benfield had that thing every way but straight. That woulda, coulda, shoulda been an absolute howitzer into the fence, but I have no idea how Stony saved that. I am speechless, lost for words. That all started at the front of this thing. We were 3 wide for the lead. Typically in this league, it's okay to 3-way, but at Dover, you're pushing the envelope there, and that was almost wicked ugly. Some of these drivers are extremely lucky their race cars in one piece right now. Is that iRacing.com pace car. Picks up the field once again. A very rare caution here in the Dynasty Racing League. Is this league famous for being lean, mean, and green throughout the entirety of the race? We didn't officially get one lap in the books here, so let's see if we can take over the replay manually here, go old school VHS mode and wind this back. Got hot and heavy at the front of this thing, and I think there was a checkup. Let's go ahead and cue playback from here. Let's go ahead, slow it down quarter speed, send it up to the eye in the sky. See what the chopper picked up here. Oh, yeah, he got the squeeze job put on him. The 88 trying to sneak by on the high side. The 42 comes up. They both get some self-inflicted concrete poisoning. Now watch here, the 75. Excuse me, not the 74. Pandolf and Stony Benfield make some contact here. Going to have to wind it back one more time here to see the second piece of this incident here. Technically, it wasn't a caution, but Like I said, this was just some masterful driving. Look at this. Look at the 75. I mean, he is pointed 45 degrees at the fence. Full-blown drift mode right there. Pandolf takes it all the way down to the flatland, sends it back out on the racetrack. Again, I always talk about how good the competition is, the quality of the drivers on display here early at Dover is any other time in this race car. That would have been a massacre out there on the racetrack, as I thought Benfield was going to be picking up his teeth out of the cockpit there for a month. However, we avoid catastrophe, so we now go back to the live side of things. Again, want to thank everyone for joining us here on Redline Racing Network this evening. I see some of you guys in the chat. Sound off. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll shout you out. We'll get that driver some extra screen time tonight, as those lights do go out on that iRacing.com pace car. Get a chance to catch your breath here one more time. Reach up there, pull those belts, wipe the visor, get ready to kick the clutch, hope that rear end doesn't bust. iRacing.com pace car pulls off. Here comes a 78. He's going to put it through the floorboards, climbing back up the H pattern. We are green flag racing once again here from Dover. Kyle Gray leads the way here. There's the master going faster in the 29 right behind him. I believe that is DJ Daniel. Timing and scoring has him flagged as the 6 car. However, he is running a Harvick throwback paint scheme. That is a guy to watch right there. He is electric. I have competed against him out there on the racetrack, and there is nothing he will not attempt to do to win a race. Currently up 4 positions already, so DJ on the offensive. James Pandolf and the Moo Crew, the HMFIC of the league right there, up 5 positions. So these drivers both eating good in the neighborhood. In fact, Pandolf just laid down a hot one, a 23:44. That's going to be good for the fastest lap of the race. So these drivers here in second and third, they are coming to the front. They have lit the afterburner. As you can see, the 29 and the 74 trying to work together. The last thing you want to do if you're trying to get to the front is get caught up racing each other here. That's going to slow you down, especially in this Gen 4 car. I mean, this thing here, guys, this has all the power. This is the way NASCAR should be. A big part of the catalyst which made NASCAR so good in its glory days. Over 900 horsepower, and it sings a song of absolute beauty, the Symphony of Destruction at 10,000 RPM. If you have it strapped into one of these things, it is an absolute riot. And you better have that wheel pointed straight to when you put the hammer down, because if you don't, it will wad you up quick, fast, and in a hurry. As Kyle Gray continues to lead this race now, 9 laps written into the scheduled 200 here. And don't forget, folks, here at DRL, we did make every attempt to end these races under green flag conditions. If we need to go into overtime, we're going to have 3 attempts to get this race in the books under green flag conditions. Kyle Gray continues to carry the torch here, but DJ Daniel and James Pandolf catching them in one thing, folks. Passing them is another. It's almost like the 29 has hit the iron curtain. He starts picking up all that dirty air behind that 78. That develops a tight condition inside that race car. Pandolf, he's looking though. That 74 is still driving good. He's going to send it down to the bottom. Daniel's going to block. Let's go on board with the 74. Let's see how good the action is right now. And it is vibing right there on the racetrack. "12 laps on these tires. And they're going to go away quick, fast, and in a hurry. You know, that wheel looks pretty smooth right now. You can see his inputs there. But as these tires transition from Dr. Feel Goods to Feel Bads, it's going to be like sweating to the oldies out here. It's a great center there. gingerly puts the power back down. You cannot just romp it coming off the corner here. A little bit of that loose condition. You see him had to feed a little extra wheel into it there. This racetrack actually has 2 elevation changes right here into the corner. Then you're going to launch out right there. As you can hear the RPMs pick up as the back tires spin, and it's going to drop into the corner here. So 2 places you have to be extra cautious on this racetrack, especially when you have this torque monster of a race car. You can see it as that car drops into the corner. As we're battling up here hot and heavy, fast and furious at the front of this thing. DJ Daniel going to go for it, man. He sends it on a Louisville slider, and he takes the lead for the first time tonight. That's a veteran race car driver right there from Bassett, Virginia. I ain't as good as I once was. Quoting Toby Keith, of course, and I always tell him that's a line of BS. He's as good as he ever was, if not better. Sometimes the Achilles heel for DJ is sometimes not having enough patience. He's a bad fast driver. He now races in real life. But the younger DJ there may have forced the issue. And oftentimes it was like Ricky Bobby. If he wasn't first, he was last because he brought the car home basically like it was mangled up at a soup kitchen. Couldn't tell the doors from the trunk. I mean, it was just a mess. But now DJ, the more experience he gets, now having that real-life experience as well, you see the patience there. He waited until he had an opportunity. Kyle Gray slipped, the Red Seas parted. And now DJ has opened it up to almost a half-second advantage here over that second-place machine of Kyle Gray. Randolph going to stabilize there in that third-place position. He's still inside the money. Guy you got to watch out for anytime he is on the racetrack. TBB, better known as the Butcher, or Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Second all-time winningest driver in Dynasty Racing League. This guy, if you could bet on these races, he is always a safe bet. Top 3 probably 90% of the time, and he wins a lot of these things. 88 has some work cut out for him right now as he's currently in that 5th place position. So many great battles we got to witness up here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Booth last season. We'll see if he has another one in store for us tonight. Is Gary Farnsworth your pole sitter? All that momentum to start this race off, and now has slid back to that 6th place position outside the top 5 here. Stoney Benfield, the faster pastor, in that 75 ride, who had that big time save from North Carolina. Got himself probably a new race suit. I mean, that was, forget Code Brown, that was Code Everything. As he hip checks the 42, pokes him up the hill. For you folks that don't know, the broadcaster's curse is real, and it is strong with me. The minute I start talking about Stoney, he just goes up there and jams him in the door panel there, sent him up the hill. I don't think he meant to do that. I think that car just got tight on Stoney there. But as I was saying before, he decided to dial up the excitometer. He had a wicked save here at the beginning of this race. That was impressive. Brandon Broby in the Milwaukee Tools machine from Northfield, New Hampshire. And that 45 machine, longtime veteran of this series, makes a living starting in the back and then just chewing his way towards the front, already up 9 positions. That's good for the biggest mover of the race. The 45 is 5-0 right now. We just talked about Gary Farnsworth, the pole sitter, as he just got yeeted. And he got sent point blank in broad daylight. The 42 did a great job of keeping that race car out of the wall. And the other thing with this Gen 4 car, once you get it in the wall, it's like a magnetic attraction. You really have to feed a lot of wheel to get this race car out of the fence. And once you do that, you better be careful, because it's really easy to spin back down the racetrack because you have way too much wheel in it to actually get it detached from that safer barrier. Great battle here for third. Stoney Benfield rocking on the high side. Top shelf for Mama hides the cookies. The 45 is going to thread the needle. Barnsworth may have had to gut on the blinders there. He jacks someone in the rear. This front of this car is like a javelin, like a battering ram. I'll launch that other car, that ass, the back of that race car up in the air, skybound. If you guys are familiar with this car, or iRace yourself out there on the racetrack, you know what type of damage you can do with the front of this race car. Very easy to send someone space shuttle status, so you got to be careful when you do deploy the chrome horn here. The Myrtle Beach man, Mark Royce in that Harley Davidson Monte Carlo, or excuse me, Impala SS. Holding on inside the top 10 here in that 9th place position. Well, Dan Ott, Juliet, Illinois, currently running my favorite Kevin Harvick paint scheme of all time. Daniel's running the red alternate version, but this one here, from back in the mid-2000s, really became an iconic paint scheme here for Kevin Harvick. You can see it's heavily influenced there by the Intimidator Dale Earnhardt, who we lost in 2001 February. I remember that like it was yesterday. Whoever thought the driver that took over for Dale would go on to make a legacy of his own? Oh, is Dan Ott there. He got the wicked case of the twitches there. Good-looking paint scheme on that 29 ride tonight as Matt Sizzler. Sizzle time is back in the DRL competition. Is he running a Kia Stinger? Get out of here. He used to be a Hemi boy. We were the Hemi brothers out there on the racetrack, and now Sizzler. A Kia. We're going to have to talk about that later. Eddie Thompson, the Chaos Machine, a.k.a. the Master of Chaos out there on the racetrack. He's already got some front damage to that race car as he currently runs in that 12th place position. What I like to call pug face. The front of the, you see the front there is kicked in a little bit on the 22. That shouldn't hurt him handling-wise too bad. He gets loose off the top, and you send it back up here to the point. 33 laps on these Dr. Feelgoods as they transition to Feel Bads. This is when this race car really becomes a handful, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go on board with Kyle Gray. Currently runs in that 2nd place position. Car pretty smooth there on exit as he rifles down the backstretch here. Sends it into 3 and 4. Man, he's got his steering ratio cranked up on that thing. You can tell by just how fast that wheel is almost twitching to the right and left. However, I can promise you his input isn't quite that fast. However, that car is, got a little back end broke loose there when he came out of the hole there. Kyle Gray's got this car driving really well. And a lot of that has to do with just having excellent throttle control. You have to treat that loud pedal like you have an egg underneath it. In my opinion, the Gen 4 cars allowed drivers to get really sloppy, especially when it comes to just uncorking one on the racetrack, because you can just put your foot in it and very rarely does it make you pay. This race car here, send it off into the corner here when you go to get back on the throttle. Go ahead and put it to the floor right here and tell me what happens. You're going to wind up in the infield carrot center saying, I don't know what happened. I just saw sky ground, sky ground, sky ground, and now I'm here. Vandolph was as high as 3rd, now slips back to 4th. The HMF IC of the league, Commander-in-Chief, does a great job works so hard to make sure all the driver sponsors, even on the broadcast side of things, have all the assets, all the information that they need to be successful here. And quite frankly, one of the best Gen 4 leagues in iRacing. Cannot say enough good things about JP. He's having a great run here in that fourth place position. Let's go ahead, check into the youtube.com live chat, see who's sounding off this evening. Sam Carter, great to see you, man. Thanks for tuning into the broadcast. Barbara, always pulling for Stony Benfield in the 75. Appreciate you being here again, a faithful viewer. Barbara, we'll make sure we get plenty of Stony Benfield coverage for you this evening. David Cacia's working. No Killer B, Matt Kenseth out there on the track tonight. There's another man that works so hard behind the curtain here at DRL, David Cacia. His calling card, he's a silent assassin out there on the racetrack. Stealth, Mr. Sleeper. And he gobbles up positions like you would not believe as he methodically just works his way over the course of the run. Famous for racing the racetrack, not overdriving the car, taking what he's given out there. And oftentimes it works out very well for David Cacia, as he's not out there on the racetrack this evening, but I appreciate it. Sounding off here in the youtube.com live chat. Luke, I appreciate you stopping in with us tonight, man. I can tell you, well, I can give you a ballpark on the average I rating here. Again, that changes, I'm sure, as you know, depending on, who's out there in competition. But on average, these guys are around a 2350. And most of them are A-class drivers. But Luke, I'm telling you, man, we got room over here. If you think you got what it takes or want to come out and join the battle, come on, man. James Pandolf, in fact, if you're interested, just I can reach out to you via here on the, oh my God, having a minor brain aneurysm there. I'm sorry. I can reach out to you through the broadcast channel here in the chat, and I can get you pointed in the right direction if you're interested. Because now I see at the top of the broadcast any openings. We certainly have a spot for you if you want to come join the ranks and run with these guys, man. It'd be great to have you out there on the racetrack. .44 laps officially written in the history books here out of the scheduled 200 from Dover, Delaware. Miles the Monster, Hungary. And we'll see what he has in store for these drivers. But right now, under green flag conditions, things get a little strung out. We're going to step aside, pay some bills, but we'll be right back momentarily and resume coverage right here from the Dynasty Racing League on Redline Racing Network. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Monster the Miles house as the Dynasty Racing League invades this concrete high bank speedway here in the heart of the Mid-Atlantic. It's start getting good in the neighborhood here once again as the 78 Kyle Gray was your leader. He went way up the hill, found the spot where the Waffle House dumped the bacon grease. Almost used that wall as a cheese grater. You could barely maybe fit a piece of paper between him and the wall there if you were lucky. Is DJ Daniel in the 29. Rolling deep on the inside. He's going to slingshot past the 78. We were stepping aside currently. Round of green flag pit stops underway. The John Deere machine being piloted there by Samuel Carter, currently in the pits. He was actually sounded off of the YouTube live chat as well. Really appreciate him making his presence known as he's currently on pit roads getting service on that race car. And just hit the afterburner. New fast lap of the race. 23:19. That is absolutely a blistering lap. In fact, that's hotter than a Carolina Reaper, if you ask me. JP currently sits in that 7th place position, one spot to the good here. You now send it back up front. Kyle Gray, one of the guys that is just gets it done on pit road. I mean, he really takes green flag pit stops and uses it to an advantage. Well, Matt, why do you say that? Well, before that stop, as Matt Sizzler and company, everyone else came down pit road. But the point being, he was able to open up a 5.5 second advantage over Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who also put down a great pit delta time as well, as he now takes over that 2nd place position. Kyle Gray was about 3 to 4 seconds quicker from commitment cone to his pit box and then on the exit. That's a big part of how you see now he has an absolute eternity between himself and the 2nd place car. I mean, if we widen this thing out all the way to the blimp here. So there's first. That didn't kind of pan the way I hoped to, but I promise you folks, almost 6 seconds, he might as well be 1,000 miles ahead of him out there on the racetrack. I mean, that's not even a contest. These are 3 or 4 counties over right now. Kyle Gray just getting it done in the trenches on pit road. And in fact, in this league here, cautions, I mean, they're far few and in between. They are very rarely do they fly multiple times here. So one of the ways you can really up the game here, performance out there on the racetrack, is just being absolutely clutch on pit road. Treat every pit stop like it's the money stop, no mistakes, and that's what Kyle Gray is a master of doing. In fact, right now, he is still hot car out there on the racetrack as it's now over 6 seconds over Taylor Butcher Benjamin in that 2nd place position. Kenny Thompson in the 22, now down on pit road. Service underway on his Chaos machine. 4 Goodyear Eagles, 2 Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel. Make sure you get that fuel box, or that juice box, pounded full of fuel. Oh my God, what happened there? I think he may have just put it on the hauler. Oh, that Ford out of there, as that car disappeared from the racetrack, and I'm not seeing any reconnection attempts, so perhaps it's going to be an early night for the Chaos machine. Your leader coming down pit road. Getting hard on the binders there. The last thing you want to do is get caught speeding. And I was wrong, folks. My timing and scoring said he was already in for service. He's either coming down right now or he's got a problem out there, because he does not want to be coming down the coming down the pit road again, unless there's a big-time problem with that race car. So I'm pretty certain my telemetry there was wrong. Is the 78 going to go the long run here and stay out there longer than just about any other driver? Currently gets locked and rocked into his pit box there. See the Jack going up. Dr. Feelgood's going back on that race car. Jack is down and away. That momentarily turned the lead over to Sizzle Time, a.k.a. Matt Sizzler in. We're going to start calling him the Korean Killer in that Kia. That is a Kia Stinger. In all of its twin-turbo glory. That car in real life is actually pretty quick. I will give it that, but a Kia in a Gen 4 wrap. That Matt Sizzler always working hard in the paint department. That's pretty cool. I have not seen a Kia yet. And that should wind up or finish up green flag pit stops here. To the lead, DJ Daniel. Mr. Excitement out there is now. He effectively takes the lead here as he pit last on pit lap 54. James Pandolf virtually down on pit road roughly at the same time. However, JP about 1.4 seconds off the lead pace here. .72 laps in the history books. We're going to go ahead and go wide open, all-out coverage. You're not going to miss anything right here on Redline Racing Network. Go ahead and crank it up. Enjoy the sights and sounds of these Gen 4 race cars. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed that Crank It Up all-out coverage break here on Redline Racing Network. As I said earlier, nothing saves the symphony. Glorious V8 heaven. Like the engines inside these machines with all its 900 plus horsepower. Sending it back up here to the front. Bassett, Virginia. Big time Toby Keith fan in the 29. He's got some serious bookie under the hoodie at 29. Williams continues to be the biggest mover in the races. He's getting 6 spots on the scoring pile. Number 6 is the last car to come down on pit road. Oh, and we have a real caution out on the racetrack. Getting a report here that Dan Ott may have been involved. Let's go back to the Redline Racing Network instant replay. Oh my God. No, are you kidding me right now? I gotta pick myself up off the floor up here, the DJ booth. DJ, was that Daniel? Because we had 2 different 29 cars out there on the racetrack, but mayhem has just broke out here at Dover. Miles the Monster took a swing and finally connected on one of them. Let's go back here. Keep your eye on the 29 here. Send it back up to the eye in the sky and watch this. The 96 of Mad Max, his car just went Twisted Sister on him. Gave it too much of the biscuits, and then goes straight up into the fence. The 29 tries to jump on the binders. Unable to keep it on the racing surface. He goes down and has a speed date with the safer barrier there. And then locks the car down. Does a great job up until that point where it flips on him and now goes straight towards the fence. Light contact there for Dan Ott from the driver of Joliet, Illinois. That just went from 0 to 1,000 inside the cockpit of that race car. It's a very rare caution now underway here at Dover. In fact, you want to see just how fast things happen out there on the racetrack. You know, often we talk about that at super speedways, you know, just 0 time to react. And I know Dover's a lot different than a super speedway, but these cars are carrying so much momentum on these straights. We're going to go on board here with the 29. Let's go now, send it back down trackside. This at full speed. And just as I say that, hey Dan, who let the cat in the producer's room again? Yeah, Fluffy's on the... We're going to go ahead and cue that back one more time here, folks. Cat's trying to help out on the controls tonight. She hit the wrong button. If I'm able to. Precaution, I think. Here we go. I'm going to send it back to the cockpit of that race car. All right, well, the powers invested in me, that replay just does not want to rub all the way through, probably for good measure, because that's going to be painful to watch. But nonetheless, that iRacing.com pace car is going to pick up the field here. At 29, DJ Daniel, Mr. Excitement. 45 going to be the first car to lap down. That is Brandon Broby, longtime veteran of the series and on the iRacing.com servers. That very well might have been the don't stain your ride, use tide moment of the race. Let's go back out on the race car, which means we're getting back to the live action here next time by. While we're under caution, let's take a quick peek at tonight's weather. Absolutely beautiful this time of the year. Can't ask for much better. Just after 2 p.m. sim time for all you military guys. 14-12 officially here. 11 miles an hour currently. The winds are howling here. And that could be a factor, especially coming out of the 3 and 4 complex. Currently steady at 11. Could be gusting 15 to 17 at times. Ambient air temperature 70 degrees. Again, beautiful. Especially that far north this time of year, it's very easy to see temperatures about 15 to 20 degrees cooler than that. So a beautiful day, beautiful afternoon. The humidity is actually through the roof. 83% water drain in the air, overcast skies, and that's going to give us a track temp of 92 degrees. As we got big time problems on the restart. Shalaka-laka going on. So 1-2 whack-a-mole. Sometimes cautions breed cautions. Are we going to stay green here? No way. Caution comes back out. Somebody gave it a little too much of the good stuff there on the start and broke those good ears loose. Just like we seen on the start of this race on the initial green flag. Cars got possessed out there on the racetrack. And again, because we didn't actually run a full lap under green flag conditions, we're going to have to take manual control back over once again, reminiscent of what we did here on the initial start of this race. So bear with me, folks, while we roll back the tape. For some of these drivers, things have gone from bad to worse here. Watch the twitch. Oh, Pandolf just gives it too much. Those Goodyears say, not today. They go on strike. Comes down and absolutely uncorks one into the 8, sends him up in the air. And big time damage to the suspension on the left front of that machine, that shock tower. The tie rod end is absolutely destroyed. Big time damage there to the 74 machine. Very uncharacteristic mistake there by the driver of that Chevrolet. Let's take another look at it here. Let's go on board with James Pandolf. The Geico restarts him. He's going to stand on it. This car's going to go evil. Just becomes possessed. I was talking about that. Oh my good. Looks like full-blown monster truck X Games mode there for the 8. That's Donald Hickson Jr. Looks like looks like we were watching a X Games competition out there on the racetrack. As much air as he caught there in the 8. And similar story for him. A moderate front-end damage to that Budweiser machine. You can see the 13 has some damage there as well. Multiple car incident here. Break it out on a restart. Mayhem at the front of this piece. And Dover, like I was saying at the top of the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, this place will test you each and every lap. Think you're going to be able to sit down, get a break here, or back off. That's when this place is going to jump up and bite you. That's just a very rare miscue by James Pandolf. Double-edged sword with how much throttle you feed these things when you decide to uncork it, when you decide to let it rip. You step over that line just a little bit. That's what happens in this race car. Now sending it back to the live side of things. Lights still on that iRacing.com pace car. Is DJ Daniel going to continue to lead the way here? Taylor Butcher Benjamin is now going to take the benefit of that caution flag. Going to erase the deficit between himself and the 29. This could be a wild shootout here on the front row on this restart. One of DRL's finest up against an iRacing legend, the 29. Matty Sizzler, Sizzle time. Gonna restart just outside the top 5. Stony Benfield, the faster pastor. It's been an eventful race for him. Still can't get over that save he had on the initial green flag. I mean, that car was scheduled for termination. That car should have been absolutely destroyed. Stony somehow got up on the wheel, fought that thing, got it pointed back straight. Here we go. Let's get ready to rock and roll here again in the House of Mines. What a restart by DJ Daniel. He just caught the field on the snooze button. He had all-wheel drive at 1,000 horsepower. Sizzler. He said, I'm out of here. I'm hitting the nitrous. See you boys later. Has just went from outside the top 5 to 3rd, and he has got that stinger cooking. As he puts a Louisville slider on Kyle Gray, Sizzler now somewhere on the 2nd. As he dials in a beat on the back of DJ Daniel in the 29. So now we're at lap 91. Scheduled 2 hours. That is officially written in the history books. 23:78. As DJ Daniel just ran as fast as that. He's got a mouthful. Matty Sizzler has become possessed out there on the racetrack. Oh! Big time save there for the 93. He is punishing those just inches off the business end. DJ Daniels race car. Trying to get in the rear drive, make a mistake. Sizzler is going to keep the pressure up. Butcher Benjamin. Side by side with the lead, DJ Daniels said, hey man, Matty Sizzler, you want it, you can take it. Uncontested pass there for the lead. Check the box. Sizzle time is at the front of this thing. Welcome back to leading with TRL Ball. So everyone's chasing them. That's right, folks. Kia Stinger. He just unleashed the swarm on the competition, going from 6th to 1st in a handful of laps. Takes a peek to the inside here. 29's going to throw it down hard, even on the inside. 88's going to go up the racetrack. That's down on the engine, just a little bit. Here down the backstretch. Starting in a 3-way battle for the lead here once again between Sizzler, Daniel, and Benjamin. move by Grover. Oh, we got problems. Caution flag once again, mayhem. We are going into uncharted territory here at the Dynasty Racing League. I knew Miles the Monster would be all different type of threat out there as we come off the asphalt out of the concrete, but I certainly did not anticipate this. This caution here, that's official. This racing, highest line of cautions throughout the course of this winter series. Is this now going to be, I believe, the third for incident? As we slow things back down once again. Not sure who it was there. We had one car parked into the fence. Wait for timing and scoring to update. Could have been Brian in the 13. Currently was running in that 9th place position. Let's see what went wrong inside the cockpit of that 13 as he's currently out there. He's out there on the racetrack, I should say. That car just checked out the wrench on. Looked like he just got really free there in the center of the corner. When he went to start to pick up the throttle a little bit, you could see all that front end damage to this Gen 4 race car. They called this car the Twisted Sister because, during this time, NASCAR rules, you could really manipulate the body shape of this race car. You could do things with the fenders, the nose cone, flaring certain fenders to really help the side force, the downforce. But the front of that race car pitched in like that. Probably was not making downforce to his liking there. The back of that car just got light on him. Around she went. Good news is no other casualties involved in that incident. It's Taylor Butcher Benjamin. And a hot battle at the front of this thing. Yeah, these guys are team trench warrior style at the front before that caution flag. Re-rack and restack and get ready to do it again. As we're just north of the halfway point here on Redline Racing Network. Let's take a look at the pit strategy here. That's going to appear at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. See Benjamin and Gray both ran 67 laps on their initial set of Goodyear Eagles. Currently right now there's a 1-lap differential between the top two cars. Roby has the newest shoes inside the top three. Currently in that 3rd place position, and you can see Roby has really dialed up the intensity here as he's up 13 positions. Barnesworth, Roy Sisler, and Daniel round out your top 8. Stoney Benfield, the faster pastor, he is having a phenomenal run here this evening. Perhaps a little too much excitement, more than he wanted at the start of that race in that Ford Fusion, but hey, all 811.com every time. Stoney will manhandle that car. Get it pointed back straight. As he did there on the initial flag. Was able to save that race car in just an incredible fashion, get that thing pointed straight. Start there in third. Stoney, faster passer. Brandon Brody. Up 12 positions there in Milwaukee towards Michigan. Before a ship action there. Butcher Benjamin going to carry the torch here on this restart. So the iRacing.com pace car pulls off. And here we go once again. Typical restart zone. The 88 push punches it through the floorboards and unleashes these V8s in all of their glory here at primetime. It's 10,000 RPM. Look at the 78 he got skidded. Threaded the needle. Really going to be really aggressive here. Stoney's going to turn it up as well. High-five each other. So 93 got loose off the top. Chased down by Stoney Bedfield. He's got a lot of fans right now. Live chat. Your boy is putting on a show for you guys tonight. One of the best performances of the season for Stoney. He is always in the competition. He's always at the top line. However, I haven't seen him challenging for the lead. And he's going for it, ladies and gentlemen. He's cruising in the Fusion. He's going to pull door side by side. He's going to do a John Force special coming out of the 3-4 complex, and they're going to drag race down the front stretch. Stoney is going to just send it. Bedfield takes the position. Welcome. The faster passenger here to the lead as he carries the torch for the first time this evening. It was a beautiful piece of driving there. They drive right down to 75. Usually Stoney is a racetrack. That's saving time, especially over the course of the long run, but perhaps because we've had this very erratic stretch of cautions, which is very uncharacteristic. He has decided to take the restrictions, the handcuffs off, and that team decided to let Stoney race. Just inside the top 10, and it's two biggest movers up to his career. Those positions, Matt Sixers. Northfield, New Hampshire. 19 out 10 and 12 positions to the good. So happy for Stone, man. So benefit him. He's a big next-gen Cup Series. Always, of course, be reckoned with out there on the racetrack, and to see him come over here, do what he's doing tonight in this Gen 4 car. But the cars could be fast range on gas. V8 supercar. Suspension's got 17-inch wheels right now. Track balls, and suspension, with half the power that this car has. The way that Stoney has adapted and grown this Gen 4 car over the past few years is absolutely. Tough to get these places at least on the side. DJ Dan picks them up. What a drive on the Stone. Let's go on board with DJ Daniel as he starts to turn up the accelerator inside the cockpit of the second car. Second off, that 74 hands up to that race car team out. Again, there's the still oh man, it's getting good in the neighborhood. Knocking on the back door. It's not delivery. It's DJ Daniel. Trying to get Stoney. We can try to get Stoney to make a mistake. This man is well proven not to work. I mean, I've seen the best of the best. Really under the pressure of what DJ's doing right now. He's DJ, if anyone can do it, DJ's probably the guy who possibly can. This is time for Stone. He knows exactly what he's doing. Right in the spot. Listen to the crew chief. Even exists in the back. Grab it, rip it, throw it out the window. Do your job and let your spot. What you do better since 29 continues to draw 75. Seems to get into the corner a little better than the 75, but then Benfield really gets a good run off. We got the 29 in that dirty 75. Daniel's trying to find a way to get around it, but Stoney's playing some good defense right now. Remember, when you put the hand down this race car, naturally that Gen 4 car wants to go towards the fence. DJ Daniel, hot on the heels of Stony Benfield. He's going to send it Bon Jovi style, living on a prayer into the quarter, makes it stick, and DJ takes back the lead here. He made quick work of the 75 ride, who's, in my opinion, having the best run of the season so far here in the Winter Series. He currently resides in P2, and don't look now, fellas, but old Sizzle time in the Korean Stinger. Up to P3 and just ran one of his personal fastest laps of the race, that time by. Stony Benfield turns it up to a 24.71, but that's not going to be enough to hold off a hard-charging Matt Sizzler. He currently holds down that third-place position. At 29, looking an awful lot like Kevin Harvick back in the day at this place. At 29, so good at times. Daniel is in the zone here. He has been a force to be reckoned with all race long. That's about the top three now. Let's go to the biggest mover of the race. Brandon Brody there in the 45 round. Often starts in the back and the rear with the gear and works his way through traffic. Very patient. Very methodical race car driver there. Longtime veteran here in the DRL Dynasty Racing League. Always great to have him out there on the racetrack. He currently holds biggest mover of the race award. Positions from where he started. Running out in the top five right now, 5 and 78. That is Kyle Gray. Slid back 2 positions, however, still having a strong run here. And it has been hot and heavy out there on the racetrack at times. He's had to take evasive maneuvers a few different occasions out there in competition tonight. Send it back up to the point here. Looks like DJ is going to be catching some lap traffic. Look at the closing rate. I mean, DJ is just picking them up and laying them down right now. Almost stretched it out over that second place car. Closing in on 1 second. We talked about him earlier before the broadcast cut. Now, pulling off a quit. Taylor Butcher Benjamin. I had to blink my eyes, make sure I'm looking at this correctly. All the way back in that 8th place position. Last time by ran a 55.33. However, that's a driver. As long as he's got a car he can race, you can never count that man out. We now start to right lap 140. Into the history books here of the schedule with 200. This mild monster has been hungry, and he has unleashed his terror out there on the racetrack. We've seen a season high. I believe 3 or 4 cautions this race. Forgive me, but we had a little bit of a broadcast coverage break. Trying to do the right thing here and close it out. There's the Moo Crew from Bad Luck Racing. James Paddock. Hell yeah, I think you should change the name of that team. Bad Luck always seems to come up and bite him at the worst time. Having a great run earlier tonight, very competitive. Then that all went bad on that restart. The rear end just went evil. He's now trying to recover from a rare mistake out there on the racetrack. DJ has it on cruise control right now as he, oh my goodness. He's just opened it up another second on the second place car. Are you kidding? me, it seems like he should have Red Bull on that race car. Probably chugged a case of it before he strapped in, but hey, whatever you got to do, it's working. Let's go on board with the driver of the 29. Nothing sounds quite like that Gen 4, especially when it gets up in the higher RPM range. That car is... Oh! Don't want to invoke the broadcaster's curse there. I was about to say, that car is driving really good right now. DJ up on the wheel. They're fighting a fucking Bronco out there with this thing. Just wrap that bottom right through the middle of the corner as well. And he is right there walking the line, that left side tire. Shoots back up out of the corner and back onto the loud pedal. 45 there on fresher shoes. That's how big of a tire, that's how much tires matter here at this racetrack. Things back out. DJ 2 seconds over Matt Sizzler, who's able to get by the 75. So Matt Sizzler continues his march, his charge towards the front. First in the fusion, Mr. Stoney Benfield goes on to third, that final podium place position. Kyle Gray holds on to fourth and rounding out your top five. Gary Farnsworth Jr. Just as I say that, he's going to peel off the racetrack, come down pit road. More than likely going to be his final stop on the evening. No mistakes here. As the 42 hits pit road, Brandon Broby in the 45 ride goes fastest lap of the race. 23:21. Able to put the power back down. There's fresh Goodyear Eagles on that race car. EJ Daniel still out on the racetrack. Let's take a look at the pit strategery here. You can see Daniel, Sizzler, Benfield, Gray, and actually, no, excuse me, the top four. That is correct, 150 laps. Wait a minute, that can't be right. Never mind. This is, pardon the graphical error there, folks. We're going to forget that even showed up there on the screen. That would literally be impossible. Let's go with that. Sometimes when you do these replays, you can walk literally into landmines. And that was one of them right there. Daniel has it on cruise control. Sizzler, similar stories. He's really checked out from Benfield. He's kind of like Mark Martin right now. Has a big window of safety out there. Getting some fresh air to that race car. Daniel's far enough ahead where he's not affecting the balance of that machine as he's 2.8 seconds or 2.18 seconds to the good. You got to go to the next county over to come back to the third place machine, the 75 ride. And if that's not enough separation, Kyle Gray at the 78 comes down pit road for the final time this evening. Jack going up. 4 tires going to be the call here. 2 cans. Sunoco Racing Fuel. Down and away. Send it back trackside. Leaders coming down pit road. Here's the money stop for DJ. Don't want to get caught speeding here. No mistakes. Want to have clean execution into your box. Remember, he had a sizable advantage. So if he was to make a mistake, he has some in his back pocket. Clean entry there. Jack going up, get through, going to work. Down and away. Once you pass that exit cone, give it everything it's got. Well, within moderation. Don't stand on it. That's the last thing you want to do. DJ back up out of the racing surface. As that cycles Stoney back to the lead. But remember, folks, he cannot make it from the distance from here. He's going to have to pit one more time. He's going to be given a ton of time up out there each lap. He stays out there on the racetrack now that DJ and company has come down pit road. Benjamin back to P2. Similar story for that driver as he was last down on pit road. Actually, I take that back. I think he's just made his pit stop. And again, sometimes with these replays, timing and scoring, not your best friend. Judging by the way he was able to drive around the 45 with these, I'm going to say that's the case. It's going to slide him back to P3's, however, strong. Here comes the Acme Rocket. Listen to that car sitting down the backstretch. Let's see what Daniel traps at this time here at the line. 23-24. Guys, his fastest lap up the race with that one. Taylor Butcher Benjamin cycles to the lead here. And just as I went away from him, he lit the afterburner. 23.14. For Mr. Excitement in the Goodwrench machine. That is a lap. And Miles in the house of Miles the Monster. He's going to have to keep it lit because he's got some serious distance to make up. Again, if this is right, Roby's right on the heels of it. Down for the lead right now. Daniel's going to be just over 7 seconds back as we send it up here back to the front. So it's getting good in the neighborhood. Took him longer than it normally does, but 166 laps on the board, and the Butcher chops his way to the front. Still want to call him in the 8. That's what I'm used to seeing him in. Is telling you, when TBB was piloting that 8 machine here in the DRL Cup Series, or the Gen 4 Series, and that car is almost historic and biblical, if you ask me. Kind of like when Dale Earnhardt Jr. went from the 8 to the 88. For all intents and purposes, we'll say Donald Hickson was the evil Mother Teresa, took the 8, would not give it back to TBB. He was a little lazy on getting back into the driver's seat, and someone took it from under his belt. Hey, still got the same driver inside that race car, still does a hell of a job behind the wheel. Butcher Benjamin's time to shine here at Dover. Closing in on 30 laps to go. This is Taylor Broby. Mr. Excitement, DJ Daniel, Matt Sizzle, Sizzle time. Or Matt Sizzler, Sizzle time. Sizzle, Sizzle. There we go. There's a new one. Sizzle, Sizzle. My Sizzle. Mark Royce. Harley Davidson, Impala, solid night to night. Started 5th, currently resides in P5. Going up against this competition tonight, that is a good run for one of the newcomers in the league. Stormy Benfield all the way back to 7th. That's down on lap 162. So he's going to have some of the freshest shoes out there on the racetrack. I just don't know if he's going to have enough time to use it. He bled a lot of positions and a lot of time out there. But nonetheless, big run for him tonight. It's Miller time in the 42. Gary holds on to a top 10 in P8. Well, JP is trying to milk this thing home, currently in 9th. Another great run, perhaps gone up a run in flame. Every time this season, it seems like he has a car that can contend for a win. Just biblical things happen to this driver. Not your normal average everyday incident, just something that, Hollywood would script up. I mean, I've never seen this guy bark the tires like that on a restart. One time. Boy, did it make him pay, because that race car got tore up. As he currently holds on to 9th. In fact, here comes Matt Sizzler in that 4th place position, taking a peek here to the inside. Taking advantage of that all-wheel drive. We're going to have to take his car after the race. Nah, just kidding. That's just a skid. Over the top of the same chassis, body engine, everyone else is running out there. I promise you guys that. Can anyone catch the Virginia Rocket? I ain't as good as I once was. Yeah, you're as good as you ever was, buddy. Big time Toby Keith fan. A few months back, he had a heck of a paint scheme on a next-gen race car. Showing him some love earlier in the year. I remember that. Roby's still hanging tough in P2. He throws in on just 1 minutes remaining. Momentarily. Check back in on the weather now that things are a little strung out here. We're getting deep into this one here. It's going to be over sooner than later. sometime just before 3 p.m., 14:58 or 2:58. Winds have picked up a couple points. Currently 12 to 13 miles an hour, gusting 15 to 17. Ambient air temperature up 2 points, 69 degrees. And that water drain, 86%. It is a muggy one here in Dover, especially for this time of the year. Track temp holding steady at a balmy 84 degrees. Trust me, these drivers are probably happy that temp is under the century mark. Once this place gets over 100 degrees, that adds a whole new layer, a whole new animal. Miles really starts to flex that. Put your nose. Time is running out here. He's going to start pushing the issue here for that second place position. Let's go on board. See him fighting hard right now. You hear those tires plowing just a little bit there. And again, these transitions into the corners, this is like riding a wooden roller coaster. Car jumps out of the corner, drops in. Gotta be very careful. Where did the 93 come from? He just set it in there like grandma's business on Sunday morning and make it... Ha! What's he out there doing? Driving an F-18 Strike Eagle? You made that look too easy. Hammer time's on it. You know, the story, in most cases with passing on this racetrack, at least in this race, has been, and I often say it, the Gen 4 car. Catching up is one thing, passing them is another. Not Matt Sizzler. He just said, I'm going to wind this thing up, I'm going to roll it deep, I'm going to put my foot in it, and I'm going to let it eat on the bottom. He let her rip tater chip, and now he's looking for more. As the excitometer is pegging off the rev limiter with a 45 cam. Sizzler has become possessed here in the late going. He treated TBB like he was a redheaded stepchild. The way he just slung it in there. All right, the 93, this Stinger, has brought the Swarm to P2. Daniel, though, north of 6 seconds. That's like from here to Nebraska. I mean, the only way Sizzler is going to catch Daniel is if that dreaded yellow flag comes out. And I think that would be a great battle to watch. Two great drivers duke it out here in the house of Miles the Monster. Last time by, they ran the identical lap time, a 24:49 to a 24:49. I can only see 2 digits here in SDK timing and scoring. Is this time by? Just 10 laps remaining. What a run it's been for DJ Daniel. This race runs a limited schedule here in the Winter Series, but when he shows up, big things happen out there on the racetrack. He's always part of the storyline, and here he is again tonight. In fact, that's a that storyline is a big part of the top three. Is Sizzler as well making his return tonight. Once a couple starts here and there. Certainly love to see him out there in competition more often. In fact, that goes for both these drivers. The other guys, probably not so much. Not to mention, he's doing it in Kia Stigler. Starting to reel him back in just a little bit. In fact, Brody was the fastest car on the racetrack by a 100th that lap, or a 10th that lap, excuse me. That lap goes to DJ Daniel at a 24.65. Tell you what, I got to give it to DJ. He clearly had a game plan that he sat down, put together before this race, and he has stuck to it. He just went out there and executed in all three phases. Got it done on pit road. Showed patience on the racetrack. And that's right, I'm associating the word patience with DJ Daniel. Chris Hubka, yes, that I am saying that for the record. Oftentimes, the younger DJ might just straight up drive through you if you're holding him up. Trust me, I've been on that end. He even called me a bad word at one point. Actually gone on to become pretty good friends. Here's some money racing with him at Daytona earlier this year. That was a good time. Gentleman's handshake lap's going to come off the board. 3 more circuits around this wooden roller coaster ride. Dover, Delaware. Matt Sizzler, though. Man, if he was closer to DJ, I mean, no one's probably doing the rain dance, whatever anything he can conjure and caution, anything. But 93 is doing it right now. I think he's doing the watermelon crawl inside the car. Matt, you want to? Yeah, there you go. You got to still drive it. As we get back to the final lap, one more time around this place for DJ Daniel. Sends it down the backstretch for the final time. Salutes the fans in the suites into the 3 and 4 complex. Let's see if he drifts it coming out of 4. You can see Barty holding the checkered flag, and no one circles the wagons and conquers miles the monster better than Mr. Excitement DJ Daniel. He comes in here with a walk-off win in the Dynasty Racing League. Impressive of a win. I'm speechless right now. I mean, DJ is a darn good driver. But the last half of this race, he owned it. Back 2 drivers. Hard time, no problem. Veteran race car driver Matt Sizzler. These guys are lucky they don't run more often, because every time DJ Matt show up to race, they're always in it. DJ Daniel, Matt Sizzler, Brandon Brody, that's going to be the top 3. Now give them a moment to celebrate with their team. 29 salutes the fans. There we go. Now we're going to light it up, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Don't need those tires anymore. Use them up. That's if he had any left out there to begin with. Gonna bring him now up to the Redline Racing Network broadcast booth. The winner from Dover's competition this evening here in the DRL Dynasty Racing League, DJ, Mr. Excitement Daniel. What a drive, what a performance from you tonight, man. How were you able to whack such good competition in, the second half of that race, bud? I thought you were quoting what I was saying about you just a couple minutes ago. That's the reason why I broke out there in laughter just a little bit, man, but you certainly did. I'll tell you what, man, every time you strap into a race car, doesn't seem like, next gen, Gen 4, Gen 6, I mean, you're always a factor in these races and a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you make limited starts here in this series. How do you make it look so easy? No matter what type of a car you're in, you're always in the money or right on the back door. How are you able to do that so consistently and just always be a dominant driver no matter where you happen to show up and run?
Today I made my 400th start in iRacing in officials, and just a lot of racing over the years. A lot of it. It takes a lot of time and energy.
A lot of time and energy that you certainly have a lot of. And I know recently you started going out there on the dirt track, running some laps, running laps there. Has that helped on the iRacing side of things at all?
Oh yeah, it definitely has. iRacing helped me be able to settle into a real race car, and some of the things I do in real life I apply in here now. So I mean, you'd be amazed at how similar everything is.
Well, I appreciate that great analysis and feedback. DJ, before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that hot rod of a 29 car you were piloting tonight?
I definitely got to thank Chris the most. He walked me through that whole thing. He helped me put a strategy together and just keeping me updated on lap times we were running compared to the leaders. That last run was insane. I don't know how I ran them down that quickly, but but definitely got to thank Chris and just everybody who makes this possible.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Limited starts, no problem. Always has some serious bookie under the 29's hoodie, and he lays the smackdown on the competition here in the house of Miles the Monster. That is your race winner, the one and only DJ Daniel. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth, bud.
Yep, thank you for the broadcast, and thank everybody for watching. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, man. I'm going to stick you down back here in the waiting room. All right, next up. Comes home in a solid second place position tonight. Mr. Sizzle Time himself in a Kia of all things. However, turns it up in prime time tonight with a second place finish. Matt, walk me through your run tonight, bud.
Well, I mean, it was definitely something. I mean, we didn't qualify as well as we wanted in our Three Birdies Golf Company Kia Stinger tonight. And we got collected in that first lap incident and had a minute's worth of damage. And, initially we tried to play for the fuel strategy and I think we were going to be about okay. And then something went wrong, and then somebody had a caution and that, kind of changed everything up. And I just decided, we're going to bolt a set of new tires to it. And we're going to just go. And that's why we stormed to the front and, we put another set on. And then I realized I only had one set left. So after I put new tires on it, I was torn because it's okay, if we get a caution, I might have a chance. But if anybody else has new tires, I'm in a world of trouble. So I was going back and forth and, give credit to DJ. I had nothing for him unless there had been a late yellow. But then again, had anybody had new tires, we all would have been sitting ducks. So,
hey, very well said. But still, you ever hear the term on the aviation side of things, turn and burn? I mean, that's what it looked. I was on board with Broby. I mean, when you passed him like he was standing still. I mean, you passed him so quick it actually scared the bejesus out of me. I mean, it seemed like you found another lane at the bottom and just kept it to the floor or kept your foot in it, and that thing just stuck. I mean, the whole night I was been saying catching them is one thing, passing them is another, in one way or another, and you just went by him effortlessly. How are you able to just get so much performance out of that race car, on that last run? I mean, that car just became possessed. You lit the afterburner, and you were getting gone, buddy. I think if you would have got one more caution, that could have been a heck of a showdown between you and DJ.
I think so as well. But then again, I think if, like I said, if anybody had new tires, we would have both been sitting ducks and fighting for second. But I mean, it was again part of the strategy. Like initially, I was thinking, well, we go as early as possible. We put on the new tires, we get the track position, and then I saw Taylor go for it, and then I think Broby come in, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna run this. Initially, I was gonna run it out to about 30 to go. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. I'm not catching DJ. The only chance I'm going to have is to get ahead of him on track and make him earn it. So I tried to sneak down pit road the lap, ended up being a lap before he did. I was thinking if I can get down about 2 to 3 laps quicker, I'm going to have him. And then my spotter comes on and says, the leader is pitting. And I knew it was him. And I just went, you got to be kidding me. How did he read my strategy card? But I mean, it was just, new tires, and plenty of practice running the bottom in Gen 4s. I've always been decently quick at Dover, working the bottom, running, ironically enough, considering the car I lost to, the Kevin Harvick line, just work the bottom, and, I've just been decently quick down there. And, new tires definitely help. When I think I went by TBB, I think I was on about 20 lap newer tires. And I think with Broby, it was at least 10 to 15. So, when they're fighting and knocking 7 bells out of each other, and you kind of just stroll up there with newer tires, it's like, oh, okay, thank you, and just drive away.
Looked like something out of like the scene out of an air show. I mean, that's just how quick you went by him. I totally caught me by surprise. I was sitting here talking about how he's attacking the racetrack, and you just see this blue blur come by him, and then you see the back of the Stinger, just come up in front of him, and you were gone. I couldn't believe how much speed, raw speed you had in that race car at one point. But you're absolutely right. Those cautions certainly did, shake things up a little bit from a strategical standpoint. And DJ always does that, man. He's like the race whisperer when it comes to the pit stops and your strategy. He always seems to have a sixth sense and knows what you're doing. Trust me. I've lost to him several times. He's booted me out of the way a few, and he's even called me some bad words out there on the racetrack. So I've been in your position, but DJ and I are really good friends now, and I appreciate your time up here in the booth, man. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on the 93?
I mean, Three Birdies Golf Company for being our sponsor. They've been awesome to come on board. Y'all can go check them out at threebirdiesgolfco.com. They have some pretty cool gear. I was wearing it tonight during the race. Obviously, because I was in a fire suit. But they've got some really cool stuff. You can go check them out. Really nice stuff from a good company. Celsius energy drink for the quick energy. All my followers over on my Twitch channel, which is on the passenger rail of my car. It's twitch.tv/SysMoneyGaming. I haven't been streaming recently, but I'm trying to work my way back to it, having changed work schedules around. It's been a bit difficult to find the energy and time at the end of the day. But, and of course, JP for putting on DRL, and you, last but not least, you for putting on these awesome broadcasts and the dedication to fight your way back after I believe you had some technical issues. So, great. Thank you for fighting your way back and giving us a finish to this.
You're very welcome. Hey, man, that's the least I can do with all the hard driving, all the blood, sweat, and tears you guys put out there on the racetrack tonight. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. No one lights up prime time like Sizzle time. Matt Sizzler comes home with a solid P2 finish there. Thanks for joining me up here in the broadcast booth, bro.
Not a problem, Matt. See you next time.
Yes, sir. Hope to see you out there on the racetrack more often.
Indeed. We'll see you later.
Thanks for your time, bud. We're going to go ahead now, put him back in the broadcast waiting room. So we're now 2 down, 1 to go. Actually, I made Matt the lead broadcaster and put myself in the waiting room. So let's try that again.
I tried to be quiet. I was trying not to start. I didn't want to just deafen your audience with a laugh.
I gave you the stage, man. The floor was yours there, buddy.
No, but I saw that. I just didn't.
Because I accidentally gave Matt Sizzler lead broadcaster role there for 5 seconds, and he did not take it. I am speechless. I can't believe that. So, as I was saying, 2 down, 1 to go. Our third place finisher tonight. Going to be up here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial booth. Brandon Broby. We got a copy there, boss.
Yep, I got you.
Well, hey, man, thanks for number one, sticking it out here. About an hour and a half after the finish of this race, as I was snake bitten by some technical difficulties about the 130 lap marker, and was able to resume coverage. So first and foremost, thank you for sticking it out, man. And it seemed like that 45 machine was on rails at times tonight. I mean, you came from back in the woods on this one. I mean, you gained 13 spots on the racetrack. How were you able to work through traffic like that and drive all the way home to a P3 finish?
Yeah, so ended up having a mishap in qualifying, set us back in the field. But yeah, I mean, throughout the race, the car felt really good. You know, it did pretty much whatever I wanted it to do. And then the first round of green flag pit stops, ended up having a mishap. I ended up speeding down pit road, so that set us back 40 seconds on the track. Luckily, was able to get a couple lucky cautions, take a wave around, and get a lucky dog, put us back up into position. And then from there, it was pretty much just go time. Just had to do pretty much whatever I could to stay up at the front and try to fight for a win. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but at least, especially with the way tonight's gone, I'll definitely settle for a third.
Yeah, man, your car had some excellent long run speed in it, and it was a lot of fun to watch you just chew your way through the field tonight. I mean, this house is called Miles House for a reason. This monster, this place is tough to get around. It's not asphalt, it's concrete, and you almost made it look easy at times, and I know it's anything but. Let me ask you a question about the uncharacteristic amount of cautions we've seen tonight. Season high this evening. I mean, things were hot and heavy around you a couple times tonight. How are you able to stay out of the calamity on the racetrack? And did those cautions change up your strategy at all?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was just a lot of luck, just staying out of the trouble on the track. You know, that caution on lap one, that was kind of a sketchy one where I had to pull it high before anybody drifted up the racetrack. But yeah, I mean, other than that, definitely did change the strategy. It actually worked out in my favor for the mistake on pit road earlier today. But yeah, it's just definitely lucky.
Hey, sometimes you got to have lady luck on your side and put it to good use, and you certainly did that, and a lot more if you ask me. Heck of a drive from you here tonight in the 45 ride. Before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done? The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank everybody who tuned into the stream, stuck around. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up tonight and putting on a good race.
Appreciate your time up here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial booth, buddy. Best of luck to you this week, and look forward to watching you out there next Saturday night in competition.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Comes home third, biggest mover of the race, up 13 positions to finish inside the money in P number 3. Brandon Broby, longtime veteran here in the Dynasty Racing League, and well-deserving of a solid performance here tonight. Always a pleasure to talk to him up in the booth. As that now wraps up our post-race coverage here again, much later than the end of the actual races. We got kicked offline for about an hour and 30 minutes or so, so really appreciate these drivers sticking around and bearing it out with us here on the broadcast side of things. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for all good things to come to an end, including this broadcast. I want to thank all the partner sponsors, DJ Daniel, Brandon Broby, Matt Sizzler, for hanging out and sticking it out with me in the Discord to get their driver interviews in, and everyone else that's hung around on the stream side of things to watch the end of a fantastic race. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic, and we'll see you next time right here on Redline Racing Network.